Good morning. How are you doing today, folks? What a show. I'm telling you, we have so much to talk about. We got to get right in it. Fill your cups, grab your pen and paper. Let's get after this, folks. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing this fine day? We got a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot to talk about. Oh, man, I tell you what, let's go ahead and start with the title of today's show. Everything Trump touches dies, CPAC edition. If you folks don't know who that CPAC is, it's a big conservative political conference they have every year. It used to be the premier event in the Republican Party. Not so much lately because of allegations of corruption and malfeasance, misbehavior by the guy that runs CPAC, Matt Schlapp. He was the guy that was accused of, folks believe he's gay. He's gay, and he's hit on several men have said that he has sexually assaulted them. Basically, one of his drivers said he was getting all handsy in the car, grabbing his genitals, and that's a whole nother story. We've talked about it before. It's a whole nother story. Marsha Klepper, first one out of the gate. I appreciate you. Thank you for the support, Marsha. You're always here for us. I appreciate you. But CPAC was a really big deal in the Republican Party. But in the last few years, it's kind of gone off the rails. You know, Tucker Carlson and all those folks doing CPAC in Hungary. Yeah, I mean, they held it in frickin' Hungary, just railing about what a great guy Viktor Orban is. I mean, it's gone off the rails, folks. And for somebody that's a Politico, Matthew, I appreciate the support, man. I appreciate the support. Man, you guys are coming right out the gate. John Edgar says, good morning, trying to catch up from my trip from North Carolina and Atlantic City. Hope things are well. Some things are great, some not so much. We're going to get into it. Do me a favor while we've taken a left turn, hit the thumbs up button, folks. Let's get as many people invited into the live audience as possible. That's what the thumbs up button does. The subscribe button allows you to get notifications of when the show is going to go live and whatnot. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Nobody's going to bother you just because you subscribe. Do both, thumbs up and subscribe real quick, if you will. But look, everything Trump touches dies is a phrase that was coined by Rick Wilson. And I like to give you people access to the people that I follow for information. When something really big, something that's going to cut deep happens, you can, especially in Trump world, you can bet that Rick Wilson is going to talk about it. He's a political strategist. Hell, I bought the guy's book. He's a political strategist. He's got a book entitled Everything Trump Touches Dies. A Republican Strategist Gets Real About the Worst President Ever. Okay. He's one of the founders of the Lincoln Project. This guy, you know, I tell you about Frank Luntz, how good Frank Luntz is. He's a Republican. And you know, I don't like Republicans. But respect your opposition, folks. Respect your opposition. Know what they can and cannot do. But anyways, this is Rick Wilson. And if you go follow him on XChan and Instagram, his Instagram is cute as hell. He's in love. He's in that new relationship stage. Everything's about as good. It's just hilarious. But one thing I want to caution you about, though, is Rick Wilson is not a Democrat. Asborn Newton, good to see you, man. I didn't get to read that. Asborn Newton, good to see you, man. Trump, the selfish, dumb reaper. Anything he touches goes bankrupt and corrupt. Hence the phrase, everything Trump touches dies. Hashtag ETTD. If you look on XChan at hashtag ETTD, you will get links from journalists to really great stories about Trump corruption. You will. That's why I'm mentioning Rick Wilson. I will caution you, he is not a Democrat. You know the old phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, Rick Wilson is the enemy of my enemy. He is not my friend until, while we're both fighting Trump, he is. But as soon as Trump is gone, Florida looks like Florida does because of Rick Wilson. He's a really good strategist. He knows what cuts deep. He knows what motivates people. Learn from him. He's a good knife fighter. He is. But that's why I titled today's show, Everything Trump Touches Dies. Just the cliff notes on it. And if you want to know what I mean by that, oh man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. It is hitting particularly good this morning. This is CPAC this year, folks. If you're a longtime Politico, if you're an old guy with gray hair or gray whiskers like me, and you've been following politics for a long time, and you're looking at this, oh my God, CPAC used to be huge, folks. It was I cannot stress to you what a big deal CPAC was. It used to be guys, like I said, like Frank Luntz and the really smart people in the Republican Party used to be, you always get a group in these conferences. They're the ones that are really effective within the party, and it's their ability, it's their opportunity to get together to soundboard things off of each other, to get projects running in the same direction. Republicans are extremely good at messaging. And one of the reasons they're extremely good at messaging was they would get together at CPAC and they would strategize, man. And seeing CPAC die the way it is dying, and I mean, I encourage you, go look online. This is not like a one-off picture. This is, if you look at this picture really closely, you see there's a speaker up there with this audio. Oh my God. You see this? And it should hearten you. It should give you the sense that everything's going to be okay, folks. It really is. If you're looking at CPAC and it looks like this, yeah, because of the guy that runs CPAC, Matt Schlapp, we've got a new word in our added to the dictionary, schlapping. That's the unwanted grabbing of your genitals. Matt Schlapp is the guy that runs it, which has been great because it's absolutely killed CPAC. And I love to see it. I love to see it because it's concentrating what we've always said the core of the Republican Party is, the ones that just won't die, the ones that won't bow to shame and say, look, I'm not going to have my face affiliated with that. Yeah, CPAC is where that came from. Don Jr.'s cokehead, whatever wife, mistress, whatever the hell she is now, where she was screaming, and the best is yet to come. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. But it really is good to watch. I know you got to be thinking, Paul, why are you paying attention to CPAC? You're a Democrat. You're a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. Because CPAC notoriously is where they say the quiet part out loud. Like I said, they would get together and they would strategize. And if you would pay attention, you would know where they're really going. Not what the polished politicians say. oh, we're never going to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's settled law. No. If you pay attention to CPAC, you hear what the faces of the money men are saying. You hear what the operatives within the party are saying. And this is just some of what they are saying. This is Trump's spokesman, Michael Knowles. You probably, if you watched the show a long time, you've seen we've played some clips from Michael Knowles before. This is Trump's spokesman. Listen to what he has to say about marriage. Hold on a second. All right, we're getting this set up. Hold on. All right, let's do this.
They can't really turn a couple of men or a couple of women or three men and a billy goat, for that matter, into a marriage. That's just...
And that's some offensive shit. Isn't that some offense? Just right there, right out of the gate. Isn't that some offensive shit right there? Comparing two people in a loving relationship to bestiality? Really, dude? You sick bastard? Really? Let me give you some inside baseball for these, bigots. Right now, there are couples in the United States of America, especially in red states, that have lived inside a marriage. Everything about their relationship is a marriage. They buy real estate together. They buy, they plan their retirements together, but they're denied all of the benefits of marriage just because they're gay. Just because they're gay. They can't go in to emergency rooms and speak for their partner unless they go through and their state will allow medical powers of attorney. They have to go gather all this paperwork and run it to. They can't just say where the doctor comes out and says, "Are you the husband?" "Yes, I'm the husband." "Okay, we have this critical situation. We have to do this. This is what we want to do. Will you okay it?" No, they can't just do that because of this bigot and bigots like him that compare their loving long-term relationship to bestiality. When they die, good Lord, you can will to your spouse. I mean, in the state of Texas, it's automatic. It goes to your spouse. In the state of Texas, if you are a gay couple, if you are in a gay marriage, it's a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare. That just the taxes alone are a nightmare. And this guy's sitting there talking about these people like it's freaking bestiality. It's disgusting. But listen to what he has to say. Hear what they're saying.
That's just not what marriage is. No disrespect is intended to anyone. Some people don't want to get married.
He just likened their marriages to marrying a goat. So yeah, disrespect was intended.
Okay, there's no obligation, but marriage has a meaning. Marriage is and always has been the union of a man and a woman ordered toward the procreation and education of children. If you don't like that,
screw you, buddy. Ever heard of a DINK? Dual income, no kids? No, not all marriages are about procreation. They just aren't. And it's definitely not just a man and a woman. Sorry, bro. Your religion doesn't apply in my household. If any of my children or grandchildren happen to be gay, they're going to marry who they love. Period. Take your church, wad it up into a little ball, and shove it up your ass.
don't blame me. I didn't set the rules. It wasn't the mean old conservatives who did this.
Actually, it is. It is you. You are the one trying to force your beliefs on me and on everyone else. No gay couple is telling you, you got to go get gay married. No, no one's forcing anything on you other than you have to legally recognize someone else's marriage, just like you recognize everyone else's marriage. That's it. That's it. That's the total infringement on you. Is that thing you're already doing for these people, you also have to do it for these people over here. That's it. That's the total infringement on these people.
This. We did not invent marriage. Marriage is a natural institution. It just is what it is. The left will slander us as hateful for observing this fact. They can't really
I didn't slander you. I listened to your own words.
turn a couple of men or a couple of women or three men and a billy goat, for that matter, into a marriage. That's just not what marriage is. No disrespect is intended to anyone. Some people don't want to get married. Okay, there's no obligation, but marriage has a meaning. Marriage is and always has been the union of a man and a woman ordered toward the procreation and education of children. If you don't like that, don't blame me. I didn't set the rules. It wasn't the mean old conservatives who did this. We did not invent marriage. Marriage is a natural institution. It just is what it is. The left will slander us as hateful for observing this fact. They can't really turn a couple of men.
Now, is what he said hateful? I mean, is he comparing the loving long-term relationship of two people to marrying a goat, to bestiality? Is that hateful? It seems hateful to me. Seems like bigotry to me. And that's not on me. You said it, asshole. You said it. Then he wants to turn around and hate me because I will hold him responsible for the things that come out of his mouth. Folks, the freedom of speech is really clear. You can say what you want, but it doesn't mean you aren't responsible for what you say. You just said bigoted, ignorant, stupid, hateful shit. And that's not on me. That's on you. And when I say you, of course, I'm talking about Republicans. But that wasn't the end. I mean, that wasn't the end of it. There's a lot more. But before we move on to our next video, I want to cover one thing. There was an article that just came out of the New York Times talking about how tired we all are. Greg, I hear you, buddy. I try not to get my videos taken down. This is important. The information we share here is important. I try not to get these videos taken down. I do a good bit of cussing though. The number of emails I get from people saying you shouldn't cuss. I'm like, do you even know me? Do you even know me? I mean, I always know it's a new person to the show when I get that email. But welcome. There will be some cussing. But folks, I want to talk about that article from the New York Times that said, we're tired. We're just worn out. We're tired of defending Joe Biden. There's no enthusiasm on the left. What a load of crap. I'm just getting warmed up. I am just getting warmed up. I am so ready for this election season. Let me tell you something. I have doubled up on my Cialis, baby. I am ready for this election. I don't know about you folks, but I'm not tired. It's punch and Nazi season, baby. Let's do this. But I tell you what is tired. It's these same old bullshit tropes that you just heard. How long have you heard that same crap? Well, it's all they offer. How long can you listen? It's like listening to a Bee Gees record. How long can you listen to the same damn thing from the 70s that old Jerry Falwell was pumping out? and keep it fresh. You can't. And that's what's happened to the Republican. It's distilled down to this. Look at CPAC. CPAC Donna, I appreciate the support. I really do. Thank you. It's distilled down to these freaks. These freaks used to be covered by a layer of people like Rick Wilson. Rick Wilson is witty. He's funny. He's a damn dangerous strategist because he gets inside people's heads. He understands that. But he also understood that Roe v. Wade could never be overturned because that was their cash cow. That kept the churches voting, and it didn't, as long as we had our freedoms, we Democrats got lazy. And when you overturned Roe, everybody went, Texas Paul was telling the truth. He was telling the truth. Oh my God, they're going to overturn Roe. They overturned Roe. He wasn't lying. He always said they would do it, and they did it. What else has he told us? Oh yeah, they're going to take your Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. They're going to take that. They are going to take that if we don't defeat them. And Rick Wilson understood that. He understood as a Republican strategist, there are lines. Asborn Newsom, man, you're on fire today. We have to call out the misuse of the word conservative. These guys are hateful bigots who use their twisted religion to suppress and grift us all. I hear you, brother, because there are conservative Democrats that are good people, that are good people, that they understand. They've got their beliefs. They don't believe in abortion. There are Democrats that do not believe in abortion. In abortion rights. But what those Democrats believe, what makes them Democrats and they fit into the tent, is that belief stops right here at the end of their nose. That's what they teach their family values, and that's what they talk about in their churches. Don't have abortions. They don't talk about you can't have an abortion. They don't talk about insane stuff like, lady, you got to be dying before a doctor can touch you and give you an abortion. That's the difference. And I hear what you're saying. But yeah, CPAC used to be covered in this crust of people like Rick Wilson, who was very good at messaging. And he understood what motivated people. And he understood as long as they didn't cross the lines, as long as the major politicos out there, the major candidates denounced racism, they could be as racist as they wanted in the back room. And we didn't get that motivated about it. Then here comes Trump and Samuel Alito. They jump in the pool, they cannonball into the pool and squeeze out a bunch of political turds like overturning Roe v. Wade. And then you got Trump running around bragging on it. And Rick Wilson, if he was still a Republican, well, you see, he has no hair because he ripped it all out. Because all these people do at CPAC now is motivate us. And if you don't believe me, listen to our next speaker. This is going to blow your minds. JRPZ, I really appreciate it, man. That's a big chunk of money, man. And I do appreciate it. I understand how hard it is to come up with $50 just to give somebody. I do. I get that. And I really appreciate you, my man. I really do. Tell me if this motivates you.
All right. Well,
this is a guy by the name of Posobiec, who's a big time Republican. He's one of their strategists. He's he's in all these conferences. He is one of their dirty tricksters. He's online, one of their online personalities and one of their communicators. This is his conference with Steve Bannon, and listen to what he has to say.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
All right, welcome.
One more time.
Welcome. I just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Motivated to vote yet? You motivated to vote yet? That's a real question, folks. This is a live interactive show. Are you motivated to get your ass out and vote yet? I tell you, folks, Maya Angelou is one of my favorite poets. One of her most famous lines that everybody repeats over and over and over again. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. Are you ready to vote yet? There are 2,167 people in this audience live right now. Are you personally, I'm looking you in the eye, are you ready to vote yet? And that's why I follow CPAC, because Posobiec's not a nobody. He meets with these politicians. These are the discussions they have behind closed doors. And this is why we have to be paying attention to what is going on, what they're saying, and what they're doing. Because, folks, if you don't believe they're sincere, you're crazy. Look at what just happened in Alabama with the IV. I know we talked about this Sunday, but it applies to CPAC and what's being said today. What are the tropes that are being pumped out today? Look at the decision in Alabama about in vitro fertilization and what has happened there. The Alabama Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos, are human beings. They're people. They are people. I made the joke about holding the egg. How do you like my chicken? They ruled them people. This effectively shut down every in vitro fertilization clinic in the country. And this is why. See, this is why this shuts them down. This is the part that that makes me so angry that the corporate media doesn't put it together. For people, it's really freaking simple. If you say, and this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and there are the votes there to uphold this, folks. Amy Coathanger Barrett was put there for this, to overturn Roe, and this. They're coming after in vitro fertilization and birth control. But this is why this killed in vitro fertilization. It's not financially feasible to create one embryo to implant because it's ineffective. It doesn't work. You would have to do that procedure over and over and over and over again to have a successful fertilization. Anybody if somebody's gone through IVF and don't mind sharing it, share it. Share it in the chat. See, what they do is they fertilize dozens of embryos, dozens of eggs, and create dozens of embryos. And then they implant them. That's why IVF fertilizations often result in twins, sometimes triplets. Sometimes they've even had crazy cases where like all 6 that they implanted made it. And they've had quintuplets. They've had, it's just, 5 twins, 6 twins. That's IVF fertilization. It's one of the risks. But there's always leftover embryos. And they were disposed of. Yes, the Octomom. Remember the Octomom? Yeah, exactly. But the embryos that were left, unless the people that were maintaining that got the IVF fertilization wanted to maintain those embryos and pay to store them, they were discarded as medical waste. Well, this decision in Alabama shuts down in vitro fertilization. Clinics are shutting down right now, today, as we're talking about this, across the country because they're now criminally liable, civilly liable for these embryos as people. Because these clinics know it's going to get through the Supreme Court. And that's on us. That's on us Democrats for not being more aggressive. That's the penance we have to pay. We've got to clean this mess up. But yeah, they're killing IVF fertilization. Just killing it right now. And it's not just IVF that they're doing it on purpose, folks. They're doing it on purpose because their churches don't believe in it. This comes straight out of the most radical portions of the churches. You know, I got no problem with a good Christian person. I've known several people in my life that were actually real Christians, and they're wonderful people. You know, I always mention George Stravinsky and Kay Clayton, two of the people in my life that I grew up with that just were up and above some of the best people I ever met in my life. Real Christians, but they're not stopping there, man. The folks that are doing it for the power. ET says I can't wait for someone to claim all their frozen fertilized ovary as dependents on their taxes. Yeah, that's where this is going. Except for the problem with that is, ET, I'm glad you brought that up. 1,500 sperm pre-embryo expires per second in a healthy man. Big crime. I know, right? None of this makes sense. But ET, the point you made, that's all well and good and funny. It is. But it's a terrible argument to make. You know, that was the first thing that happened is people made the joke, I'm going to go get 18 embryos frozen, put them in my freezer. I'm going to claim them all on my taxes. And when the IRS comes, I'm going to say, there's my kids right there. Look in the freezer. And that's a funny joke and everything, but that acknowledges this. That accepts this. And I don't accept it. I don't. I reject it wholeheartedly. I reject you interfering in women's health care. I reject you interfering with IVF fertilization. I reject it all on the outset. No, I'm not going to make the best of it and try to get a tax write-off and go that route. No, I'm not moving from my trench. Terry Taylor says, I have a 21-year-old son through IVF. 4 were implanted, 2 took. 1 wasn't viable, but the one that worked is now my beautiful son. I'm infuriated about this to imagine this happening 21 years ago. Thank you for sharing that, Terry. I know that's your personal business. I really, really thank you for sharing that. But yeah, that's what they're screwing up, folks. And you know why they're screwing it up? Like Terry said, 2 were implanted, only 1 was viable. In many cases, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 will be viable. Barbara Lankes is the underlying motivation of these guys to overturn democracy, eliminate taxation and regulation for corporations. The chaos would destroy capitalism in America. But they don't see the long picture. They don't see the long picture. They don't. They don't see it, Barbara. They just don't. They're collecting their paycheck today. But let me tell you why they're killing IVF. Back to that. The story you just heard from Terry. Oftentimes there will be 5 or 6 or 8 viable fetuses, and people don't want that many children to develop. So they will go in and they will surgically remove these viable embryos that took. And that's why the churches hate this. That's why the churches hate this. Because people aren't birthing 10 kids. You know, they're not allowing the woman to die from having too many children. They're not allowing children to die in utero because there's so many children, a woman cannot support them all through birth. You know, having that many twins is actually dangerous for both the woman and the fetuses. These people are not doctors. They're not intelligent. They're just hateful religious bigots. But you know, they're not stopping with IVF. They're not. And if you don't think that, let's go to the sounding board. Elon Musk. Hormonal birth control makes you fat, doubles risk of depression, triples risk of suicide. This is the clear scientific consensus, but very few people seem to know it. Bullshit. Bullshit. All of it. Bullshit. But hey, Elon Musk bought a website so that he could say that crap. Here you go. This is one from a guy I've told you about I've warned you about this guy many times. He's very well financed, which pisses me off, Democrats, by the way. You know, you folks in the audience support the show. You really do. I mean, it's amazing to me because, you know, I came up, I'm the real deal. I understand how hard it is. And I understand there are people in this audience that need to be here, that need to hear this, that need to participate in this, that can't. I get that. What pisses me off is that I don't get support from the Democratic Party. I don't get support from Democratic funders. I don't. This fucker does from the Republican side. Chris Rufo is very well funded, one through the Manhattan Institute, also through an institute in Hungary. And I mean, he's getting money left and right from the Republican establishment to say stuff like this. So what? The pill causes health problems in many women. You can tell this is going to be where they're going to go, folks. If you pay attention to these conferences and these people, you can get their arguments ahead of time. And this is the argument. The pill causes health problems. For many women, recreational sex, in quotes, is a large, if he knew me, it would have been capitalized. Recreational sex is a large part of the reason we have so many single mother households. Oh my God. Did you know that sex makes babies? Huh. He's railing against the pill while talking about single mother households. Like that makes sense. Which drives poverty, crime, and dysfunction. The point of sex is to create children. This is natural, normal, and good. Well, you got it here first, folks. That keep that up. I'll get to it in just a second. That Christopher Rufo has had sex. He's got, I believe, 4 children. He's had sex 4 times in his life. That's the conservative way. That's what they want. You know, no sex for fun. Only to have children. And birth control is bad because it hurts you and somehow creates single mother households. Birth control, it don't make sense. Anyways, Kathleen Matthews says, my brother had cancer in his groin area at 13 years of age. And where are we going with this? And the doctors told my mom later they would have gotten sperm from him to store for when he was older because he became sterile from cancer treatment. Again, interfering with all of this, real life people, there are real life medical consequences, just like the overturning of Roe v. Wade. There were real life medical consequences, women that were really, really hurt by this. And they just do this to placate their churches because they don't care. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn that they're stupid and have no business in people's medical decisions. AC says, I remember the Catholic Church telling my mom, no birth control, you need to have all the babies God bless you with. They say that part out loud. They want to overturn your ability to get birth control because they want you to have more babies. They say that part out loud. That's not a hidden fact. That is not a hidden fact. Thanks for the support, Dana. I appreciate you. I really do. Everything helps, man. Shelby Sanders, great point about Planned Parenthood. That is why Republicans tried to defund Planned Parenthood. Said it wasn't healthcare. Exactly. If you can, they don't want you planning your family. They don't want you making the decision on how many children you have. They want you women to be baby factories. That's your job. Make the babies. It's insane. It's insane. Meanwhile, out of these same churches, pay attention to things like CPAC. That's what I want to end that with. Pay attention, because they will say the quiet part out loud there. They will. Thanks for the support, Mayor Wedlock. I appreciate you. I really do. ET says, and they're going after child support as well, so they can seed and leave. Yeah. They're it's crazy, the things that they're doing. Are you motivated to vote yet? Are you motivated to vote yet? And let me tell you what, these geniuses at these churches, I know you're like, Paul, quit attacking the churches. I like my church. I like it. Sorry, folks, you got to call it. You've got to look at problems the way they are. These problems start in the churches. They do. And this is what else starts in the churches. I've mentioned to you many times, I'm going to invite Bex to come on the show. Another really good follow that you need to follow, folks, on XChan. XChan isn't a total garbage heap. It isn't. There are some good people there. Missouri jury has found youth pastor John Estes guilty. This isn't a charge. He is guilty of raping a girl under the age of 14 in the garage of his home. Youth pastor in Joplin, Missouri. Folks, this is the churches, man. This is what they are. This is who they are. Hawk, I appreciate you, my man. Hawk says Texas needs more guys like you. Let me give you some hope there, bud. Texas has more guys like me. Not everybody has the talent to do what I do. It ain't easy to sit in front of a microphone and talk intelligently on these subjects for an hour to 2 hours. That's hard. But there are the people here that think like I do. Believe me, there are. The problem we have in Texas is motivation to vote. And there's a big reason for that. There's more to it. I got a story breaking today that you're going to like. They're going after, they're going to make divorce as hard as possible so that women stay, and bad marriages can be abused by these. You ever notice that these big family values, right-wing conservatives always end up either abusing their wives, abusing children, raping children, or just some god-awful, crazy nonsense ends up coming out about these people. Just stay the hell out of my family. Stay away from my family. If y'all want to be psychos, be psychos. Go be, it's America. Go be freaking psychos. As long as everybody's willingly participating, I don't give a damn. Go be a psycho. But stay the hell away from my family. Stay the hell away from my family. Got another breaking story that just came out. This will make you laugh. Marjorie Trader Greene just got denied the ability to argue her case before the Supreme Court of the United States. They said, too bad, so sad, Marge, go pay your bills. This is from Hoodlum. He's another good follow. He links a lot of really good articles. He follows a lot of good journalists. The way these sites work, it's really hard if you, for whatever reason, they suppress Journalists, they do. And it's hard. So if you follow other people that follow good journalists, you'll get more into your feed. Hoodlum is one of them that I follow. And it's a fantastic story out of Yahoo News actually broke this one. Back during COVID, you remember Farty Marge here was going to show her ass, and she wasn't going to wear a mask. She just wasn't. Nancy Pelosi was a speaker at the time. She said, that's the rules. You violate the rules, you get fined. And they fined her, and they fined her. Every time she stepped on the floor, they fined her to the tune of 80 grand. And the great part is they took it out of her check. She's already paid this one. She was trying to get this money back. And the Supreme Court just said, pay your bill. And I'm telling you, the Supreme Court's saving their powder. They are. This birth control thing is going to be horrible. It is going to be horrible. But on the international front, we've got some more breaking news for you. All right, before we go international, let's continue with Trump and the domestic stuff. We've got a really good story out of. I love good journalists. Yeah, folks, let me clarify this again. I'm not a journalist. I'm a commentator. My job in all of this is to follow journalists that do good work. Ingest their information. When there's something big happens, I'll actually ingest information from half a dozen different journalists. Break that down and talk to you in a way that's easy to follow, easy to understand. That's my job. I'm a commentator. So many people that you see online are like influencers that want to be commentators, and they'll do crap like go to Wikipedia. And I'm going to show you why that's a bad idea. Why you really need to have good sources, good verifiable sources. Or they'll call themselves journalists, which is the biggest joke. I have incredible respect for journalists, folks. That is hard work. That is investigative. Stick your neck out, do the work, feet on the ground, investigations. Journalism is an incredibly important part of our world, folks. Real journalism. Unfortunately, too much is being co-opted. But anyways, I wanted to clarify that. And the Daily Beast does good work. They do good work. They really do. And this is the latest story out of the Trump campaign. This is going to piss you off. And I don't really like this headline. This is the cash-strapped campaign is trying to get away with new donor loophole. It's not a donor loophole. They're breaking the law. There's campaign finance law, and this is the gist of it, okay? There are people that want to donate to campaigns. There's a maximum amount you can donate legally. That's the law. Every campaign gets donations that are above that amount. What you have to do by law in that situation is you have to send that person back everything up and above the donation limit. Are you following me? You write me a check that's too big, it breaks the law, I have to send you your money back. It's really clear. Katie, I appreciate the support. I really do. Thank you very much. It's really clear. This is cut and dried. Nobody's done this crap before. Leave it to Trump to plow into this. You have to file with the FEC. There are FEC filings that you have to make. Colleen Sarah says, conservatives, to me, carbon-based bipedal life forms, hitchhikers of the galaxy, and don't come back. That's funny. Yeah. Hitchhikers of the Galaxy. That was a great movie. Murdered the title there, forgive me. But are you following me? You wrote me a check, it's too big, I got to send the money back. Well, Daily Beast keeps track of campaign filings, FEC filings, and all of a sudden they notice there's notifications coming from the FEC warning the Trump campaign, hey, we're going to fine you if you don't start doing these refunds. We have seen donations that you have filed you in your filing that are too large, and there are no reimbursements. They're not giving the money back. They're just keeping it. And as you saw from last Wednesday's show, they're in deep, dire financial straits. They're in mucho bad carne. They have no money, and they haven't been refunding this money. To give you some idea what we're talking about, the scale of what we're talking about, Nikki Haley raised about $20 million, right? She had to refund $115,000. That's normal. That's normal. The Biden campaign does that. It's part of your FEC filings. Hey, I gave that money back. So you get the idea. $115,000 on $20 million. Trump in 2023 raised like $80 million, right? So you would expect they refunded a hell of a lot more than that. Something to the tune of, $500,000, $600,000. No, total refunds were 150, and they dried up near the end of the year when they started having financial problems. They stopped giving the money back. That's a crime. That's just raising your middle finger. That's just raising your middle finger at campaign election law. That's why they accuse us of, they're going to steal elections. Because there are no laws for them that they will not break. When asked about this, the Daily Beast did their job. They did due diligence. They got in touch and said, hey, what the hell's going on with this? Campaign spokesman, the spokesman for the Trump campaign, he was Bradley Crate. There he is. I was looking for his name. He's a low nobody. I didn't know. I don't know Bradley Crate. He's not a person of consequence. Acknowledged the excessive donations. Said, they're in our filings. Yeah, they're there. But he said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send the money to another Trump election committee, and they'll do the donations. And God bless Daily Beast for doing their job as journalists. Said, okay, which committee? And they went and looked at that committee's filings. They didn't do the donations. It was just a lie. Maybe sometime in the future, they'll reimburse this if the FEC makes them. But right now, they're just not going to follow campaign laws. They just aren't. They're just going to take any donation, any amount, and hold the money. And God bless Daily Beast for calling this out. Because without the journalism, folks, we would be left with a guy that works at the FEC, just sending warnings. Hey, please comply. Please comply. On fire today, Mr. Newton. On fire. We are 2455. Press the thumbs up. Yes, please. By the way, while we're doing this, hit the thumbs up button. People need to hear this stuff, especially this next thing I'm going to cover with you. This is just going to drive you up the frickin' wall. Let me pull it up for you. Oh, come on. Internet's a little slow today, folks. I'm sorry about that. There it is. There it is. This is Dr. Joseph Ladapo. I know you people, there's going to be 10 people that are going to know exactly who this guy is. He's the Florida Surgeon General. He's the guy that DeSantis put in place because he would lie about COVID. This guy has no qualifications to be Surgeon General. He has no qualification, and he says the most horrific crap. Let me tell you, folks, they went too far. Latipo here went too far. Florida has a measles outbreak right now. And in the school where they had the measles outbreak, they've got 11% of their students. And this isn't some rural school with no kids in it. This is a big city school. 11% are not vaccinated. Because, hey, Dr. Latipo lied to them about vaccines. And they've got a measles outbreak on their hands. And I don't care if you've been vaccinated against measles. Measles is deadly and highly contagious. And as we've learned from the COVID vaccines, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't catch something. It allows your body to fight against it. Dr. Latipo just told parents in Florida, if your kid's got measles, you don't have to quarantine. Don't worry about it. Just go about your business. Did you hear what I said? The Surgeon General, the Republican Surgeon General appointed by Ron DeSantis strictly because he would lie to the American people. He would lie to the people of Florida. Just told parents of kids with and exposed to measles, they don't have to quarantine. Just go about your business. People, this is insane. Peter Campbell says this Stormy Daniels case, it's election finance case, not a cover-up of a porn star payment. Really, it's both. We're definitely, as that case in New York unveils, we're going to cover more of it. That next month, he's talking about the Trump criminal case that's coming up next month. But yeah, Dr. Joseph Latipo, the Surgeon General of Florida, just told people exposed to measles. Do you know how deadly measles is? And they don't worry about it. Do you know what this is going to do? I swear to God, these people are willfully trying to drag us back into that's what the Dark Ages was, folks. Went from an age of enlightenment where people followed and understood, and we had social advancement and advancements in art, thanks for the support, Wilbro. Advancements in art, advancements in culture, advancements in science, and they just drugged them back into the churches. Because that's what the Dark Ages was all about. It was about church rule. And drugged them backwards. And diseases were rampant. Economies were crushed. That's what they're trying to do, folks. That's what they're trying to do. And it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. There's one more thing I want to add here about the previous story we were talking about the Trump campaign. Folks, this is a grift. This is a grift. The Daily Beast looked at their filings and what they were spending their money on, and it is all going to fundraising, almost all of it. None of it is going to traditional campaigning, expose the candidate, talk about the issues, all of the things that campaigns have to do. I mean, you hear the Biden campaign, they'll put out notifications, they'll talk about his policies. Joe Biden's going to be here to speak on this, and those expenditures, the staff to go out and knock on doors, recruiting volunteers, yada, 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 yada. That is not where the money is going in the Trump campaign. I got a breakdown here of what they found. Give me 1 second. where are you? Sorry about the pause. I apologize. Here we go. $14.2 million spent for digital consulting. That is online representation. $11 million on direct mailing, fundraising. $4.2 million for online solicitation fees. That's getting money out of your crazy uncle, crazy papa. That's the cut they have to pay to the people that help them raise this money online. $3.4 million on texting services. That's where they text directly, and your crazy uncle, your crazy papa gave them their phone number, so they're getting text directly from the Trump campaign. This is where they're spending their money, folks. It's all on fundraising. It's a grift. It is a grift. 100%. It's a grift. And you just have to compare that with what's going on with us Democrats and what's going on with Republicans. You got Republicans telling people, hey, birth control is bad. Hey, two people that have been in a loving relationship for 30 years can't will each other property because marriage. My church told me something different about marriage. Hey, Pendiche, hi from Europe. Please explain why so-called Christian nationals can be so cruel to sit by and condone the cruelties done by the terror Russians. In my view, that is fake Christian propaganda. And you are right. You are right. It is fake Christian propaganda. It is 100%. Asborn Newton, again, Doc Death needs starving, poor, sick, brainwashed, uneducated people to fight the next war for church profit. Yeah. Keep them dumb. They'll keep voting for you. But folks, we've had on the international front a really big deal. Y'all heard about Alexander Smirnov being arrested. We've had another Russian arrested. The Biden campaign came out. Not campaign, President Biden came out and issued some more pretty damn harsh sanctions over the murdering of Navalny. 500 new sanctions. And to show that they're serious about this, they arrested this guy, Vadim Wolfson. And they arrested him in New Londongrad. That's what we Texans call Austin now. You remember? London picked up the moniker Londongrad because of the sheer amount of money that these mafioso oligarch Putin sycophants poured into London buying real estate, opening up shops where they sold $30,000 hobby horses. It was all money laundering and corruption. And that's how Britain ended up with Brexit. Well, we call Austin New Londongrad these days because things like this. Vadim Wolfson, also known as Vadim Belyaev, Russian. He is the head of Russia's largest private investment bank. Was arrested because he was moving money for Andrei Kostin, who is sanctioned. Now, remember I told you about the importance of not falling into these, I want to be an influencer, so therefore I'm going to call myself a commentator. If you go to Wikipedia, which is where most of these people do, they don't actually do the work. They don't actually ingest what real journalists have uncovered. I mean, because that takes time and effort, and you have to, I sit there and read all damn day. I mean, Jamie Wyzgowski says, keep preaching. We need big voices. I will, brother. I will. Thank you for the support, and you make sure it happens. So if you go to Wikipedia and you look this guy up, Matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. Let me actually bring his Wikipedia page up. That's Andrei Kostin. Let me bring his Wikipedia page up real quick. I want you to actually see this. Why, Wikipedia can be edited by anybody, and the Russians are really pushing misinformation. If you go to his Wikipedia page, there's no real relevant information on him. In fact, it's very misleading. They tell you his big credential. If you look right here, Andrei Leonidovich Kostin, forgive me, I'm tongue-tied today, is a Russian businessman who is chairman of the United Shipbuilding Corporation Board of Directors since August 2023. No, that's not what's important about this guy. No. What's important about this guy is he's the CEO. This is the CEO of VTB Bank. And if you followed Trump's Russia problems, pardon me, wrong. I'll bring that one up here in just a second. Forgive the technical glitches. William Dugan, thanks for the support, bud. I really appreciate it. Forget the technical glitches. Andrei Kostin here is the CEO of VTB Bank. And if you remember the Mueller report, that name should stick out like a sore thumb to you. He's also a big reason Navalny was jailed and is now dead. See this woman he's with? That's not his wife. He has a wife. He has children. He has grandchildren. But this is who he's with in public. This is his partner. It was Navalny that pointed out that Kostin here gave her, and she's just, all she is a Russian television personality. She's just a Russian she's a propagandist, Russian state TV. Her name is Nalia Askar-Zaid is her name. Kostin gave her a plane, gave her a yacht, a super yacht, gave her a massive estate. Navalny pointed out Kostin's income would not pay for the real estate alone. He didn't have the money to own these things, much less be able to give them away. And Wolfson is here in the United States laundering his money. This guy has been sanctioned for over a year now. And because they act like mobs, not bankers, because they act like mobs, this guy's laundering his money. He's bought a 5-acre ranch in Austin proper. Do you know how much that costs? Austin real estate is like New York real estate. 5 frickin' acres in Austin and a house in Austin in the suburbs. This is over $10 million worth of real estate this guy bought for him. So yeah, the Biden administration has sent the word, we're cracking down on this, and they arrested Wolfson yesterday. Kostin is still in Russia. He does Putin's bidding. This is how they move money, people. And there's a reason he's in Austin, folks. These Republicans are sucking this Russian money up as fast as they possibly can. There's a reason. Putin's talking point is, why are you messing with Ukraine? You have a border problem. Putin says this over and over and over again. What does Greg Abbott say? We have a border problem. There's a reason these two things sound exactly like each other. And this is how they get into these areas. This is how they move the money. Andre Kostin cannot move money. He is sanctioned. So what does he do in Russia? He gives money to Aktiri, which is Wolfson's private bank. And Wolfson buys real estate here for Kostin. That's how they're doing it, folks. And the Biden campaign is cracking down on it. Enough is enough. New Kid, thank you for the support. I really appreciate you, brother. I really do. Thank you for getting out all this info. We would never be able to find the same time to do it. Hey, that's my job, man. That's my job. I appreciate it, brother. I really do. I really do. And I know it's not easy. This is something, there are a lot of really good people out there online that push a lot of good information. It's not easy. It takes talent to sit here and sit in front of a microphone, break this stuff down so people can understand it. Finding out what's important, filtering through the noise. Left-handed Jedi says, is Putin going to pay $500 million for Trump? Yeah, you better believe they're trying to figure out how to funnel money into Trump right now. They really are, because this is the end of Trump. What he's talking about is Letitia James up in New York. Letitia James she's been very clear about this. They're going to start liquidating parts. They're not going to wait. They're not going to play games. Judge Ingeron has said, no, you're not going to get any relief. It will be delayed if he files an appeal, but to file an appeal, he has to put a bond in trust with the state of New York. He's got to come up with the money, and we don't know if he can. We don't know if he can. So the next week or two, we're watching very closely to see what happens, because Letitia James is very clear about this. They're going to start liquidating Trump properties to come up with the amount of money he owes in this judgment, which with interest is up to about $500 million at this point. That's what he was talking about there. And the thing I want to leave you with is, folks, you know, I just showed you Nelia Askazade. She may be Kostin's girlfriend, and Kostin may be giving her airplanes and yachts and property, but she gets around, folks. She gets around. This is Elon Musk and her at Qatar. In Qatar for the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup. She's not a babe in the woods, folks. She isn't. She's a go-between. And Elon Musk wants Russian rocket engines for SpaceX. Right now, nobody can get Russian rocket engines. We, the government of the United States, bought Russian rocket engines. We did, for our defense contractors, because they're cheap. They're really cheap. And Elon Musk wants them. That's why he's in Russia. You know, Elon Musk speaks fluent Russian, right? Elon Musk speaks fluent Russian. And yes, he does a lot of business in Russia. And yes, these sanctions piss him off because he can't get what he wants. He can't do what he wants. You know, folks, that's what I want to leave you with, is the understanding that while we know we have to support Ukraine, we have to do the right thing. We know how bloody this could become. Billionaires are fundamentally selfish and stupid. People are like, oh, they're billionaires. They're brilliant. They must be brilliant. No. More often than not, a billionaire is right place, right time. They are. Bill Gates. There was a revolution. Bill Gates just had an idea. Windows. The way we interface with our computer. He said, you know, let's just make it visual. Let's make it visual. If he hadn't done it, someone else would have. He wasn't a particularly gifted coder. right place, right time. That's how these billionaires are made. Elon Musk is not a visionary. He didn't invent Tesla. He didn't. He forced out the people who did. And what Elon wants right now is he wants his Russian rocket engines, and he's really pissed at you and me for these sanctions. So he's going to do stupid things like you just saw, or I just shared his quote with you about birth control, because that's what the Republicans are going to be harping on. Birth control hurts you, ladies. Birth control hurts you. Like you people didn't go to the gynecologist, that you didn't talk to your gynecologist. They're going to mansplain the pill to you. Asborn Newton, they are. They're selfish. Most of them are sociopaths. But that's what I want to leave you with, folks. One, a simple question. Are you ready to vote yet? Are you motivated yet? Because I will tell you, I tell everybody the truth. People don't vote to say thank you. Yeah. Joe Biden just forgave a massive amount of student loans, and I bet nobody can tell me how much he did. Just off the top of your head, how much did he forgive? Nobody's going to vote for that. It's a good thing. It's the right thing. But nobody's motivated to go to the polls because, Joe Biden just forgave $1.4 billion in student debt because, student debt is crushing. It's crushing people. They get educations. The jobs don't pay well enough to cover the debt. Teachers don't make enough to cover how much it costs to become a teacher. But note to say thank you. They vote to say fuck you. And I'm going to make damn sure I'm going to use every ounce of talent I have to make sure that you understand why you need to look at Republicans, walk into that polling booth, and push that button and say, fuck you. That's my job. Love you, folks. It's been great talking to you. We're not going to be able to do a roundtable today because we're already 20 minutes over. And it's Friday, baby. We made it to Friday. I love talking to you, folks. Thanks for being here. Please, before you go, hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button. I watched YouTube forever without ever subscribing to a channel. I used it for information, and I would never subscribe to channels because I thought it was going to be a pain in the ass. If I hit that subscribe button, I thought it was going to be a pain in the ass. It was going to either end up costing me money or whatever. It is free. Will always be free. It's not a grift to get money out of your pocket. All subscribing does is it gives you my information. When you log into YouTube, about the second thing you see are the channels you subscribe to. And, oh, hey, Old Texas Paul has a new video out. There it is. Set notifications. We're here every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And pretty please, hit the thumbs up button because there's a lot of people that need to hear this information, and you know it. You know it. Take just a second, scroll down on the page on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get as much people this information as we possibly can. Thank you for being here, folks. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.